Republicans are starting to rally around the idea of granting a path to citizenship for some undocumented immigrants. Citizenship would have to be earned, they say. The GOP is considering requiring those so-called dreamers, who are immigrants brought to the United States as children by their parents, to either serve in the military or earn a college degree. It's an idea that has public support. A Rasmussen survey found 80% of likely voters would favor that requirement. The immigration debate is the topic of this half-hour's roundup, and we want you to weigh in. We're talking about it right now on our Fox 26 Facebook page. You can also send me a tweet at Sally Mack, Fox 26. Joining us live in our newsroom, we have our legal analyst, Chris Tridico, our news analyst, Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst, Jackie Bally. All right, 80% of voters rallying around this idea of a requirement to go to college or serve in the military as a pathway to citizenship is a pretty sizable amount of people.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah.
That's a pretty strong statement and I thought, again, that the House would take up immigration reform this year, and I did last year too, and now it's looking like they won't. I mean, Jackie Bally, 80%, that's a pretty strong statement that we need to do this DREAM Act, isn't it?
And I think that's why you will see something come up or come out. I think Boehner is going to look at that. He's trying to get some kind of compromise through. He has said that he is willing to look at something.
But he said this week they're not going to be able to take it up this year.
He also said that he's willing to work with some of the Democrats, some of the Republicans to look at that if there's also some kind of border security measure that's tacked on. So he's saying, look, there's 80% of our constituents who agree with this. Maybe if we have some kind of border patrol or border security measure also put onto this, maybe it's something that they can look up in the near future.
Well, first, I think the Republicans in the House are saying we can't get something through that the public is going to accept after this 80% said that we want this, and I think that's why Boehner's now backing off this year. I want you to respond to that. But second, what does border security have to do with the DREAM Act?
Nothing.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah. Well, look,
Sally?
here's the challenge. When you look at that poll, 80% of the people are supportive of this, 10% of the people don't know, are undecided, and 10% are vehemently against it. But that's the general public. When you look at it within the Republican primary voters, that 10% is the majority of the Republican primary voters.
That's the 80%.
So when a Republican elected official says border security, what they're saying is, I'm too scared to deal with my own party. That's what they're really saying. And John Boehner's got himself a problem that he is, again, listening to a very narrow margin of his
But that narrow margin of space in the House is enough to block anything coming out, isn't it, Jackie Bally?
And especially whenever midterm elections, we will have the Senate based on what the Democrats have done with Obamacare.
Well, I don't agree with that, but we'll talk about that on another show.
Yeah, we will. So I think what Boehner would probably, I would try to work with Democrats. Right now, what he's saying as this compromise, he could get some Republicans on board, because some Republicans are saying, look, I would support this. And some Democrats are saying, I would support this. So his best bet would be to try to push something like that through right now, and then see what the measure would take.
Politically, wouldn't it benefit the Republicans politically to do something?
In order to, and all John Boehner has to do is to put it to a vote. There's enough Republican and Democratic votes to push it through. But if he does, he knows he will lose the leadership of his caucus. The other thing is, we're talking about this on a federal level. We just got through talking about the lieutenant governor race. All 4 lieutenant governor candidates want to repeal the DREAM Act in Texas.
And send the National Guard down to the border to patrol the border. Let me go to Sally. She's monitoring our social media accounts.
Yeah, we're getting comments on this right now on our Facebook page. Karen says, no, the children should have to go through the legal immigration process just like everyone else who comes to America. No favors, no privileges. Bobby says, how in the world do you expect the majority of these kids to pay for education? Come on, people. We need to secure the borders and legalize all of those who are here now, with the exception of those who are lawbreakers.
I don't know how to respond to that last one, because technically they're all lawbreakers. But the first person said something interesting, Jackie Bally, that these kids should have to go home and apply for citizenship like everyone else. What we're talking about in the DREAM Act is children who came here as elementary school kids who had no choice to be here when their parents brought them here, and who are now productive.
Well, we don't know if they're now productive because they're children, but I think a lot of people who are bothered by the way that their parents came into the country illegally, they're saying just because they came into illegally with their parents does not mean that they get special privileges because they're children. I don't think they're attacking children.
Well, I disagree with it. That's just, you know, their children came to the border, no fault of their own. Some of them have graduated from college. Some of them have served in the military.
Right.
And we're denying people that are serving us in the military, we're denying people that have gotten an education in this country, you know, equal tuition to what anybody else pays.
Which is exactly what the Rasmussen poll was saying, is that the 80% of people who support this, Jackie Ballard, are saying, look, if you serve in our military and you go to college and you've graduated and you're productive, let's give you a pathway.
So what's the question?
Hey, Republicans going to support that.
Again, I think Boehner is going to try to push something like that if we get also a compromise on border security.
All right, we'll see where that goes. I'm skeptical that the House is going to work on that this year because of the midterm, Sally, but we'll see.
And we'll be talking about it again. All right, we appreciate it, guys. See you in our next hour.